In this video, we want to learn about solving linear equations. The simplest type of equation is a linear equation. This is an example of a linear equation. 3x minus 6 equals 0. Probably, you can guess the value of x, the solution of this equation, simply by yourself. X is 2 because 3 times 2 minus 6, 3 times 2 is 6, 6 minus 6 is 0. So the solution of this equation is 2. The value that we are looking for is 2. But how we can find the solution? What is the way that we can use for solving equations, linear equations in general? Here I will show you two methods for solving linear equations. These two methods are basically equivalent to each other, but one of them is easier and faster for solving linear equations. Let us start with the basic method that usually you can find in most of the textbooks, and then I will show you the other method which is a little faster. We have this equation 3x minus 6 equals 0. The idea for solving linear equations is to keep the terms with variable, which is usually x, in one side and move the numbers, the constant terms, to the other side. So let me repeat this. This is the most important thing that you have to learn. To solve linear equations, keep the terms with variable x on one side, which is usually the left side, and move the other terms, the numbers, the constant terms, to the other side. Here in this equation we have 3x, which is the variable, and we have negative 6, which is a constant term, which is a number. The idea is to separate these two from each other. Variables one side, numbers on the other side. For that reason, we want to eliminate, we want to get rid of this negative 6 in the left. How we can get rid of negative 6? With its opposite, which is plus 6. So for solving this equation, we are going to add 6 to the left and to the right. So this is the first step. Because here we have negative 6, we add 6 to the both sides. If we add negative 4, we add 4 to the both sides. If we add plus 4, then we subtract 4 from both sides, the opposite. Now, let's simplify the left side and the right side. If we pay attention to the right side, 0 plus 6 is 6. 0 plus 6 is 6. What about the left side? Negative 6 plus 6 is 0. So this is gone. These two cancel each other. So in the left side only we have 3x. So now we have to work with this equation, which is simpler. 3x equals 6. 3 times what number is 6? 2. So the answer is 2. But the way that you have to find x is not to guess the number. Sometimes guessing the number is not easy. Yes, here is easy. 3 times 2 is 6. So the solution is 2 and the answer is 2. But the general way that you can find x is that. Here now you have to think about this. We want to get rid of this 3. How we can get rid of 3? By its reciprocal, by its opposite. To get rid of 3 times x, to get rid of this 3, we divide both sides by 3. These are the things that you have to learn for solving linear equations. So, for solving this equation, now we divide both sides by 3. Then we have 3x divided by 3 is equal to 6 over 3. So we divided both sides by 3. Whatever you do with one side, you have to do with the other side. So we divided both sides by 3. 3x divided by 3. 3 with 3 cancels. We have x. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So x is 2. As we expected from the beginning. But let me show you the faster way that you can use for solving linear equations. To solve this equation faster, you have to learn this basic important skill. Whenever you have a term, these are terms. 3x is a term, negative 6 is another term. Whenever you have a term in one side of the equation, every equation has two sides, left side, right side. You can move the terms from left to the right, or if you have terms in the right, you can move them to the left. But this is the important skill, this is the important thing that you have to learn. If you want to move any term from left to right, or from right to left, you are allowed to do that, but you have to change the sign of that term. For example, if you move 3x to the right, then in the right side you have to write negative 3x. So we eliminate this and we write in the right side negative 3x. Or if you want to move negative 6 from left to right, in the right side you have to write plus 6 or positive 6. Let's say here in the right side you have 2x. If you eliminate this here, if you clear 2x from here, move it to the left, you have to write here negative 2x. Or let's say in the right side you have here plus 10. You can erase 10 here, and in the left side you have to write negative 10. This is the important skill that if you learn, you can solve linear equations faster and easier. Now let me show you how this technique works. Remember, the general idea for solving linear equations is to have variables like this in one side and move the numbers to the other side. So here we can keep 3x in the left and move negative 6 to the right. But don't forget, when you move negative 6 to the right, first of all you erase this from here, and in the right side you have to write 6, the opposite side. Negative 6 goes to the other side and it would be 6. Now what is x from this equation? Similar to the previous example, previous method, basically not previous example, previous method. For finding x, we divide both sides by 3 and x is 2. So we divide both sides by 3 and x is 2. But instead of saying divide both sides by 3, you can do it this way. You can say x. You don't need to write this middle step. From this, we want to jump to here. We don't want to waste our time. We want to find the answer in the fastest way and the easiest way. Please pay attention. What is x from this equation? X is always this over that. This number over this number. So 6 divided by 3. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. Let me show you another example. Suppose you have 5x equals 20. What is x? You don't need to say 5x over 5, 20 over 5, then this cancels with this, x is 4. No. This is basic method. We want to learn the best method. X from this equation is 20 divided by 5. 20 divided by 5, 4. The answer is the same. Of course it's the same, but we want the fastest way. Another example. Suppose you have 2x equals 5. What is x? X is 5 over 2. This over that. This number over the coefficient that here we have for x. 5 over 2. Yes, the answer can be sometimes a fraction. Now let's do the other example that here we have. 5x plus 4 equals 19. For solving this equation, again I will show you both methods. It's good to learn both of the methods, but definitely this method is faster and easier. First, we notice that we have this 4 here, and we don't like to have this number here. Remember, we want to have variables in the left usually, numbers in the right. To eliminate 4, we have to subtract 4 from both sides. So then we have 5x plus 4 minus 4 is 19 minus 4. So we subtract 4 from both sides of the equation. Then in the left we have 5x and in the right we have 15. 19 minus 4 is 15. 4 minus 4 is 0. Now what is x? Probably you can guess x is 3. 5 times 3 is 15, so x is 3. But if you want to follow same procedure as here, same process, for finding x, we say we divide both sides by 5, so 5x over 5 is 15 over 5. 5 with 5 cancels, x is 15 over 5 is 3. Now let's do this example with the other method. In this method, if you remember, we can move the terms left to right, right to left. The idea is to have the unknowns x in one side, numbers to the other side. So for finding x, we say 5x, we keep 5x here, we move 4 to the other side. When we move 4 to the other side, it is what? It is negative 4. 19 minus 4. This is easy calculation that you can do in your head. 19 minus 4 is 15. Now we have this simple equation. And from here, remember the technique? X is this over that. This divided by that. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And this is the answer of the equation. Let's move to the harder examples. 7x minus 4 is 3x plus 8. For this example also, I am going to show you both methods. First, we notice that we have a negative 4 here, but we want to have the unknown in the left, just 7x. So we want to get rid of this negative 4. How we can get rid of negative 4? By adding 4. So we have 7x minus 4 plus 4. And because we added 4 to the left, we had to add 4 to the right. Then in the left, we have 7x equals 3x plus 12. 8 plus 4 is 12, minus 4 plus 4 is nothing, so only we have 7x. Now, remember, we want to have the unknowns, the variable, in the left side usually. So, we have to get rid of this 3x in the right. How we can get rid of 3x? By subtracting 3x, the opposite. So, now we subtract 3x from both sides. We subtract 3x from left side and from the right side. Now, what is 7x minus 3x? These are like terms. 7x minus 3x is 4x. 3x minus 3x, these two terms are negative of each other, they cancel each other. What remains here? 12. Finally, for finding x, we divide both sides by 4. 4x over 4 is 12 over 4, and from here x is 3. Let me explain something to you here. In some textbooks, instead of dividing both sides by 4, they say to get rid of this 4, multiply both sides of the equation by the reciprocal of this number. We want to get rid of 4. How we can get rid of 4? By multiplying both sides by the reciprocal of that coefficient. The answer at the end is the same, but the process seems different. Please pay attention to solve this equation. We have 4x equals 12. Because we want to get rid of 4, we multiply left side and the right side by the reciprocal of this number. Because when you multiply a number by its reciprocal, these cancel each other. 4 and negative 1/4 cancel each other. What remains? X is equal to 1/4 times 12 is 3. Because 12 times 1 is 12, divided by 4 is 3. This is another way that you can find x at the final step. Now let me show you the faster way for solving this equation. 7x minus 4 is given 3x plus 8. We have this equation. We want to find x. What was the method? What was the second method? Move the variables to one side. What are variables? This term and this term. So we want to move this to the left and move the numbers to the right side. Usually right side. It's up to you. move variables one side and the constant terms, the numbers, to the other side. So here we write the equation in this form. We keep 7x in the left. We move this to the left. So 7x minus 3x. Don't forget, when you move a term from left to right or right to left, you have to change the sign of that term. So now we have 7x minus 3x equals, what happened to this? We want to move it to the right. So in the right we have 8 plus 4. As you can see, we change the sign of every term that we move. Why 7x is still 7x? Because it was in the left and it is still in the left. 8 is the 8, but negative 4 is 4. 3x is negative 3x because it is moved from one side of the equation to the other side. Now, what is 7x minus 3x? Yes, it is 4x equals 12. 8 plus 4. And from here, x is, remember in the second method, we are not going to say 4x divided by 4 equals 12 over 4. No. The faster way. What was the faster way? X is this divided by that. 12 divided by 4. 12 over 4 is 3. So x is 3. Compare the two methods. Which method seems easier to you? The first method or the second method? Definitely this method is faster than that method. Now look at this example. Negative x plus 3 equals 4x. For solving this equation, I am going to show you how to solve this equation with the second method that we have learned, because it is faster and easier, and it's possible to find the answer without any mistake. When you do a question in a long way, it's more possible to make a mistake. The second method is easier. So I want to show you how to solve this equation with the second method. What was the second method? Move variables to the left, numbers to the right. So to solve this equation, we move this to the left. Negative x is already here. We move 4x to the left, then we have negative 4x. And we move this to the right. 3 goes to the right side and it would be negative 3, the opposite side. Now, negative x, negative 1x minus 4x is minus 5x equals negative 3. And from this, x is, remember, this over that. So x is negative 3 over negative 5. Because numerator and denominator both have a negative, you can write x as 3 over 5. Negative 3 over negative 5 is 3 over 5. So this is the value of x, 3 over 5. Not always the solution of a linear equation is an integer like 1, 2, negative 3. Sometimes we have fraction as the solution, as the answer of an equation. Now look at this example. This is a little harder example compared to questions that we have done so far. The thing that makes this question a little harder is that we have a bracket here and we haven't seen equations like this before. But don't worry, the process is the same. You have to learn one more thing. Whenever you have brackets in the equations, you have to open usually those brackets. What I mean by opening the bracket, you have to multiply if there is a coefficient, a number, any sign here by the bracket. So the mistake that many students make for solving these type of equations, they think that, okay, I want to, for example, get rid of these 2 here, I have to subtract 2. No, you are not allowed to do it that way. Because you have to think of a bracket as something that prevents the usual things that we are allowed to do in a normal equation. So basically we have to get rid of the brackets. We don't like to have brackets, because when we have brackets, we cannot simply move the terms. We cannot eliminate the terms. So, before doing anything, we multiply and we simplify the brackets. So here, before doing anything, for example, this is a mistake to think that, okay, I'm going to move this to the left. No. And negative x would be x. No. Attention, this negative x is trapped in this bracket. So it's not free to move. It should be free. And so to have x as a free variable, to move it left to right, right to left, you have to expand the brackets. You have to distribute the numbers in the brackets. So here, to solve this equation, we keep 6 plus 2x in the left because it's a very simple expression. But 3 should be multiplied by 2 minus x. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times negative x is negative 3x. Now we have this equation. 6 plus 2x is 6 minus 3x. So here what I did, I multiplied 3 by 2, 6. 3 times negative x is negative 3x. Now this is a normal linear equation that we have seen before. What was the method for solving equations like this, if you remember? Move variables to the left, numbers to the right. So we decide to move this to the left and to move this constant to the right. If we do so, then we have 2x plus 3x in the left. 2x is already here. Negative 3x moves to the left and it would be plus 3x. What about right side? In the right side, already we have 6. We have this 6 here. But we move this to the right and it would be negative 6. So, by this operation, now we are at this step. 2x plus 3x is 6 minus 6. 2x plus 3x is 5x. 6 minus 6 is 0. So what is x from this equation? 5 times by what number is 0? 5 times by 0 is 0. So x is 0. But remember, the method that we are using for finding x at this last step is x is always this divided by that. So x is 0 divided by 5. But we know that 0 divided by any number other than 0 is 0. So 0 over 5 is 0. So x is 0. So 0 is the solution of this equation. Why we say 0 is a solution for this equation? It means that if we plug in 0 for x here and here, the left side and the right side are equal to each other. Let me show you. Left side and the right side. If we plug in 0 in the left side, 6 plus 2 times 0. So 6 plus 2 times 0. In the right side, we have 3 times 2 minus 0. If we plug in 0 here, then we have 3 times by 2 minus 0. Let's calculate the left side and the right side. If we calculate this, 6 plus 2 times 2 times 0 is 0, 6 plus 0 is 6. So left side is 6. 3 times 2 minus 0. 2 minus 0 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. As you can see, left side and right side are equal to each other, which means that our answer is right. This is the way that you can check your final answer is right, or probably you made a mistake during your solution. Now look at this example. Here we have two brackets. You have to follow the same process. It doesn't matter you have one bracket, two brackets in the left, in the right. What was the rule? Open the brackets if you want to find x, because x is like a trap. The variable, the unknown, the numbers are trapped in that bracket. And we cannot move them from left to right, right to left. So, to solve this equation, immediately we multiply 2 in the bracket. 2 times 1 minus x is 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times negative x is negative 2x. For the other side, we have 4 minus 3 times 2 is 6. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Negative 3 times negative x is 3x. Negative 3 times negative x is 3x, because negative times negative is positive. Now look at this equation. This is a simple linear equation. Now we are at a step that we don't have any bracket. So like a normal linear equation, you can solve it. But before that, we notice that in the left we have 2 numbers. In the right we have 2 numbers. Let's simplify these numbers, then move them around. If you want at this step, immediately you can move these numbers to the right, you can move these numbers to the left, you can do anything. But before moving them, it's a good idea to make them a single number, and then moving a single number is easier than moving 2 numbers to the other side. So 1 plus 2 is 3. So in the left side we have 3 minus 2x. In the right side, 4 minus 6 is negative 2 plus 3x. So remember the technique. The technique was this: variables one side, numbers on the other side. So we move this to the left, and already we have this here. Attention, negative 2x minus 3x is equal to, move this to the right. We already have negative 2, and we move 3 to the right, it would be negative 3. So now in the left we have negative 5x, in the right we have also negative 5. Negative 2x minus 3x is negative 5x. Minus 2 minus 3 is minus 5. So what is x from this equation? X is negative 5 over negative 5. This over that. This goes in numerator, this goes in the denominator. So finally, what is x? Negative 5 over negative 5, negative with negative cancels, 5 over 5 is 1, so x is 1. And this is the solution of the equation. Now look at this example. 1/2 x minus 5 equals 4. For solving this equation, we follow same rule. We don't have any bracket here, but the thing that makes this question maybe a little different than previous example is that we have fraction 1/2. In the next example we have 1/3. But this is not a big problem. We can, please pay attention, we can move 5 to the other side, and then we can find x. Let me show you first this method, then I will show you another way for solving this equation. Remember, the method was this: always keep the variables in one side. What is the variable here? 1/2 x. So we keep this variable here, and we don't have any variable to move it to the left. So we keep this x here, and we move 5 to the other side. So what is x? What is 1/2 x? So 1/2 x is 5 plus 4, or 4 plus 5, which is 9. Now, for finding x, remember the rule. The rule was this: x is always this over that. But before finding x, can you guess what is the value of x? 1/2 of what number is 9? Half of 18 is 9, because 18 divided by 2 is 9. So x is 18. You can guess x. But we want to find x. We don't want to guess the value of x. Here is mathematics. We don't want to guess anything. We want to prove anything. We want to solve anything. So x is 9 over 1/2. This over that. Now maybe you wonder how we have to simplify this. Remember, dividing fractions. Attention, please pay attention. Whenever you have a fraction, we have a fraction here because we say 9 divided by 1/2, 9 over 1/2. Fraction is division. So to simplify this fraction, this is like 9 divided by 1/2. To find x is 9 times by reciprocal of this. Invert this, 9 times 2 over 1. Remember, when we want to divide a fraction like a over b by c over d, this was the rule, a over b times by d over c. Reciprocal or invert of the second fraction. Then we multiply numerator by numerator, denominator by denominator. This was the rule that we had for dividing fractions. So we use that rule. Now we have 9 times 2, because attention, denominator of this is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 9 times 2 is 18. So x is 18. But this method is not the best method. It's a very good way, but if you attention, at the end, we don't like to do these type of things. We don't like to work with fractions. Probably you prefer to work with integers like 2, 3, 5. You don't like to work with fractions. So is there a better way to solve this type of equations that we have fractions, numbers like negative 2/3, 1/2, 2 over 5, 7 over 10, and so on? Yes. Because we don't like to work with fractions, the first thing that we do in these type of equations that we have fractions is that we try to eliminate. We try to get rid of fractions. But how? Please pay attention. Let's say in a question you have 2/3. How we can get rid of 2/3? Of course, by multiplying by 3 over 2. By reciprocal. Because 3 with 3 cancels, 2 with 2 cancels, and then we have 1. So, to get rid of fractions, we can simply multiply that fraction by a proper number, by an appropriate number, and we can get rid of fraction. In this example, we have a 2 in the denominator, and we want to get rid of 2. How we can get rid of 2? By multiplying by 2. How we can get rid of 3? By multiplying by 3. Look at these equations. Let's say we have 1/2 x plus 2 equals 1/3 x minus 5. This is an equation. How we can get rid of these 2 and 3? By multiplying both sides by an appropriate number. But the numbers are different, so you have to find the least common multiple of these two. The number that can help us to get rid of 2 and 3. What is that number? 6. 2 times 3, 6. Because 6 divided by 2 is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So we can get rid of denominator. This is the general technique that we can learn when we have fractions. And we will learn this technique during doing these examples. So, for this first example, we multiply left side and the right side of the equation by 2. I will show you all the steps in details here. So we multiply left side and the right side by 2. Gradually you can do these steps faster, and probably you can skip some of the steps. But at the beginning it's better to do all the steps. So we multiply left side and the right side by 2. Remember, this is an equation. If you multiply left side by a number, you have to multiply the right side also by that number. If you multiply 2 in the bracket, we have what? 2 times 1/2 x. 1/2 with 2 cancels because these are reciprocal of each other. And we have x minus 2 times 5. Don't forget, you have to multiply these two in every single term that you have in the bracket. 2 times 1/2 x, because 1/2 and 2 are reciprocal. 2 with 2 cancels, we have 1x. 2 times 5 is 10. So minus 10 equals 2 times 4 is 8. And this is easy. From this equation, x is 80. Attention, we have a constant, a number here. Remember the method, we keep the variables which is usually x in one side. We move numbers to the other side. 8 plus 10 is 18. Because the negative 10 goes to the other side, it would be plus 10. So 8 plus 10 is 18. If you remember the method that we used for solving this equation before, we had to do lots of calculations that was more complicated. If you remember, we have to divide by a fraction. So it's really good idea to eliminate fractions, then solve the equation that has only integers. Look at the next example. We have 3 in the denominator. How we can get rid of 3? Multiply by 3. So for solving this equation, we multiply both sides by 3. 3 times 3 minus 1/3 x is 3 times 5. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 1/3, 3 with 3 cancels, and then we have negative 1x. But you don't need to write negative 1x. Negative 1x basically is negative x. 3 times 5 is 15. What is x from this equation? Remember the technique. We keep the variables in the left and we move the numbers to the right. It's up to you. You can move the variable to the right, number to the left. It's completely fine to do it that way. Negative x in the left. We move 9 to the right because 9 goes to the right. 15 minus 9. 15 minus 9 is 6. So x is 6 divided by the coefficient, this number, negative 1. 6 over negative 1 is negative 6. So x is negative 6. Now look at this equation. X minus 1/2 x minus 1/3 x minus 5 equals 0. We have 2 and 3 in the denominator. How we can get rid of 2 and 3? By multiplying by 6. So we multiply all the equation by 6. So we multiply left side by 6. We multiply the right side also by 6. 6 times x is 6x minus 6 times 1/2. 6 with 2 simplifies, and then we have 3. 6 times 1/2, please attention, 6 times 1/2 is basically 6 times 1, 6 over 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. But you don't need really to multiply by denominator. Before that, simplify 6 with 2. 3 remains here. 3 times 1 is 3. This is the better way. So 6 times 1/2 x is 3x, but don't forget you have a negative, so negative 3x minus 6 times 1/3 x is 2x, because 6 divided by 3 is 2. 6 times 5 is 30, so minus 30 equals 6 times 0 on the other side is 0. So by multiplying both sides by 6, we have this. Now simplify. Simplify this and keep these here because these are variables. Move this to the right. And immediately you have the answer. What is 6x minus 3x minus 2x? 6x minus 3x is 3x. 3x minus 2x is x. So x is, basically we have 1x. And 30, negative 30 goes to the other side, it would be 30. So as you can see, now we are able to solve equations complicated like this in 1 and 2 steps. Look at this equation. 2/3 x plus 1/2 bracket x minus 3 equals x plus 1 over 4. In this example, we have everything. We have brackets, fractions, variables in the left, variables in the right. Everything is mixed together in this complicated equation. But if we follow the procedure, then we can find x easily. First, we get rid of what we hate the most. What is that? Fractions. By looking at the denominator, we can see that we have 2, 3, 4. What number we have to multiply both sides to get rid of 2, 3, and 4? If it was only 2 and 3, 6 was enough. But 6 is not enough for 4, because 6 divided by 4 is a still fraction. So, we need a bigger number. What is that number? The least common multiple between 2, 3, 4 is 12. Because 12 divided by 4 is 3. So we multiply left side of the equation and the right side of the equation, everything by 12. Multiply left side by 12 and multiply the right side by 12. So let me write this 12 in the left. It's better to write this 12 here because we multiply the left side by 12 and 12 should be here. Now let's start multiplying 12 in the left side and in the right side. Be careful, this is a little complicated example. 12 times by this first. You can say 12 times 2, 24, divide by 3, 8. Yes, this is very good way, but is this the best way? No. When you multiply the 12 by numerator first, then you divide by 3. It's possible that this number would be a large number. Then dividing by the denominator would be a little hard. This example is easy. 12 times 2, 24, 24 divided by 3 is 8. But you should not think to this example. You have to think in general. Let's say in another question you have, for example, 60 times by 12 over, for example, 10. Yes, you can multiply and then divide. But it's easier to say 60 goes by 10, it's 6. When you want to multiply 12 by 2 over 3, the better way, instead of multiplying numerator by numerator, is to check first, simplify 12 with 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Then 4 times 2 is 8. So we have 8x plus, now 12 times 1/2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 12 times 1/2 is basically 6. So we have plus 6 times x minus 3. Please pay attention. This is maybe a little first confusing. This is a term, this is a term. All of this is a term. So when you multiply 12 by this term and 12 by this term, so you have to multiply 12 only in this first part. Maybe you think that you have to multiply 12 by x, also 12 by 3. No, all of this is 12 and you want to multiply every single term by only one 12. So don't make this mistake to think that I have to multiply 12 also in the bracket. No. Now look at the right side. We want to multiply 12 by x plus 1 over 4. Again, you can say multiply numerator by numerator. No, don't make that mistake. It's not a good idea to do it that way. 12 in numerator cancels with denominator first, then we have 3. Please pay attention. X plus 1 over 4, which here we have, is basically like 1/4 of x plus 1. These two expressions are the same. Whenever in math you are saying divide by 4, it's the same as 1/4 of that thing. 1/2 x is the same as x over 2. So whenever you have this expression, basically it's the same as this expression. 1/2 of x is the same as x divided by 2. So when you want to multiply 12 by x plus 1 over 4, so when you want to multiply 12 by x plus 1 over 4, you can think it this way. It's 12 times by 1/4 of x plus 1. Because this expression is basically this expression. Now it should be more clear for you that 12 times 1/4 is 3. So let's summarize the story. What is 12 times x plus 1 over 4? It is 3 times x plus 1. Because 12 with 4 cancels, 12 is in numerator, 4 is in denominator, 12 over 4 is 3. Now, if you compare this new equation, which is equivalent to the previous equation, this is much easier. Here we had lots of fractions, but now we have equation without any fraction. Simply distribute the brackets, move variables and numbers, and then you can find x. Now is the time to distribute. 8x plus 6x minus 18. We multiply 6 in the bracket. 3x plus 3. Now everything is free. You can move everything to the left, right, everywhere. Variables to the left. 8x is already in the left, 6x is in the left, 3x goes to the left, and it would be negative 3x, 18 goes to the right, 18 plus 3. Don't forget negative 18 would be 18. 8x plus 6x minus 3x is 11x. 18 plus 3 is 21. From this equation, x is this over that, 21 over 11. And this is the solution of this complicated equation. Now look at this example. 2y minus y over 2 plus y plus 1 over 4 equals 6y. The name of the variable is not x, it is y, but it doesn't matter at all. First, we note that we have fractions, and we don't like fractions. So we want to get rid of 2 and 4. What is the number that if you multiply this equation by that number, we can get rid of 2 and 4? Is it 8? No. 4. 4 is enough. 8 also works, but then you have big numbers to work with. So the better number, the least common multiple between 2 and 4 is 4. So we multiply both sides of this equation by 4. We multiply left side by 4, and we multiply right side by 4. 4 times 2y is 8y minus 4 times y over 2. 4 cancels with 2. We have 2y plus 4 with 4 cancels, and then we have y plus 1 over 1, which is y plus 1. What about the right side? 4 times 6y is 24y. As before, move variables one side, numbers to the other side. So we keep 8y minus 2y plus y in the left, and we move 24y to the left. So we have minus 24y. The only number, the only constant term that we have is 1 in the left, that if we move it to the right, it would be negative 1. Now let's calculate the left side. 8y minus 2y is 6y, plus 1y is 7y, minus 24y, it is negative 17y, equals negative 1. And from this, y is this over that, or negative 1 over negative 17. But negative 1 over negative 17 is 1 over 70. Now look at this example. 1 over x is equal to 4 over 3x minus 1/3. First of all, this is not really a linear equation because we have x in the denominator. For linear equation, x should be only in the numerator with degree 1. So this is not really a linear equation, but we can transform, we can change this equation to a linear equation and then we can solve it. So this is a little tricky question basically. We notice that we have fraction. What we have in the denominators? X, 3x and 3. What is the expression? What is the thing that if we multiply both sides of this equation by that expression, we can get rid of x, 3x and 3? If we multiply left side and the right side by 3x, we can get rid of denominators. Let me show you what happens when we do this. 3x times by 1 over x, remember, we can simplify numerator with denominator. X with x cancels. Then we have 3 times 1. So, in the left we have only 3. What about right? 3x times 4 over 3x. 3x with 3x completely cancels. Numerator with denominator completely cancels. And then only we have 4 minus 3x times by negative 1/3. 3 with 3 cancels, and then we have negative x. This 3 with this 3 cancels, then you have negative 1x. So we have this equation. As you can see, multiplying both sides by 3x works like a magic. From this complicated equation, now we have to solve this equation, which is simpler. What is x? Move variables to one side, move x to the left. So we move negative x from right to the left. Then we have x here. And we move 3 from left to right. In the right we have 4 minus 3. This goes left, this goes to the right. So what is x? 1. So this is the answer of this equation. I hope by watching this video you have learned how to solve linear equations. As I started with really simple equations, gradually I made them harder and harder and harder examples. And now you should be able to solve almost any linear equation. If this video was helpful for you, please subscribe in my channel and see you in the next videos.